It starts here, it starts now. The Bahrain International Circuit, Friday evening, the 7th of November. Race 1 of the Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East. Third season for the Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East after starting this journey 17 years ago here at BIC as Porsche Sprint Challenge, then the Sprint Cup, and now it is a fully fledged member of the Carrera Cup family. The cars are the Porsche 992 Carrera, the Cup car with its 510 brake horsepower, the 6-speed gearbox, 6-cylinder 911 GT3 based car, one of the fastest single-make cars on the planet, and the same car that has been used in the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup for the last few seasons. And as well this year, preempting, if you like, the change of 2026 when Carrera Cup and Super Cup will head to cars with the new generation of car with traction control and ABS that has been introduced in Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East for the very first time. So seeing our cars on the grid for the first of the two races this weekend. It is a 12-lap race or 30 minutes maximum. And on the front of the grid, the young Japanese driver Taichi Watarai. Car number 77, run by 7x7, 7x7 Racing with Alexandra Vateva alongside him. And Alexandra, a rookie still, with completing just about now her first season in Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East, racing for Splendid Racing, Splendid Yachting, the sponsors of her car, and a partner in the championship as well. Championship run by the Lechner Racing organisation in association with Michelin, with Mobil 1, who of course are title sponsors of the Porsche Super Cup, and Michelin, the tyre suppliers to all Porsche Cups and Carrera Cups and the Super Cup, and Splendid Yachting partners here as well. So 7x7 last year ran this man, Banksy, the Japanese veteran in the car. This year the number 66 machine joined by the 77, and probably of all the teams the biggest age difference between the two, because Taichi Watarai just 21 years of age, Banksy a little more. He's a Pro-Am driver. Watarai, the new boy, very much in the pro class. And another new boy on row 2 of the grid. He is also A, young, and B, in the pro category. And this is Caleb Sumich from Australia. Completed about a half season of the Carrera Cup Middle East last year. And this year stepping up into the Team DHL machine that was driven to championship glory by Janis Stierk last season. Stierk has been nominated by Carrera Cup Middle East to go to the Porsche Junior Driver Shootout, and it's Caleb Sumich who starts fourth on the grid on row 2. Cedric Chassang making his debut here in Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East. He starts in 5th position for Team GP Elite, one of the two cars run by the Dutch duo, by the Dutch team. Born in Amsterdam, and Cedric Chassang from his racing license now from France. Raced in Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux last season, some appearances in the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup, and his first outing in Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East was at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix support race in Jeddah last March. Started racing in 2022 with GP Elite throughout his racing career so far. And new to the championship and very much new to motor racing is Italian Max Muchlechner. And if that doesn't sound the most Italian name, he's not an Eni, for instance, that's because he's from the German-speaking canton of Südtirol. He's from Brenneck. 19 years old, started racing in 2024, yes, last year at the age of 18, after doing a couple of track days with his father, raced in Sports Cup Swiss and had his first race wins in the middle of last season at the Red Bull Ring. So comes in with Intercable Racing into the pro class. It'll be very interesting to see how he fares here at a track that he's not raced before. That is not the case for the two drivers who line nose to tail on row 4 and row 5, Khaled Al Ahmadi and his teammate Saud Al Saud in the white and green Team Saudi racing cars. Saudi Racing were the team champions last season, and they are going out, no doubt, to try and match that. Khaled was second in the Pro-Am title race behind teammate Saud Al Saud, who won the Pro-Am title. They have both moved up into the Pro class. Now then, our leading qualifier from the Masters category was Sam Shaheen. It's not. He is in the Pro-Am category. Older brother of Yasser Shaheen from Australia, and he has done a lot of Porsche racing in the last 12 years. Started back in 2013 in Porsches, has raced in Porsche Carrera Cup Australia and Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland, and he's also made appearances in the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup. So that is his car, the silver car with the red and blue, very much martini stripes, but with Australian circuit The Bend represented on the front, because Sam and brother Yasser are the duo that run the Bend Raceway in Australia. So he has qualified in 8th place on the grid. 9th on the grid inside of row 5, Saud Al Saud from Saudi Arabia. And he was, as I said, the Pro-Am champion last year, so he has been bumped up into the Pro class. So he will be racing against all the front runners in the championship. I mean, you always are, but you're also racing against your class rivals. So Saud, the second of the two Saudi racing cars, and alongside him on the grid is another newcomer from Norway, Alexander Hagenberg. Now, he's the second of the M-Tech competition entries in the championship, the first of whom or the other of whom will be behind him on the grid, Krista Andero. So Alexander Hagenberg raced in Porsche Carrera Cup Scandinavia, GT3 in Norway, started racing in 2021, a brief 2-year, 3-season foray, and his last race before today was in 2023. Krista Andero's last race before today, much more recently, the 58-year-old Masters category driver, started in 2016, been racing Porsches since 2018, Porsche Carrera Cup Scandinavia, Porsche Sprint Cup Middle East since 2020, and Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East last season. And so he was one of the front runners in the Masters category last year and is back to enjoy himself again. So Krista Andero starts on the inside of row 6 of the grid, 11th in qualifying. And Peter Brecker from the Czech Republic in the GT Sports Technology car, he starts alongside him. So Brecker, another of our contenders in the Masters category, finished 3rd in that category last year, and he's done quite a wide variety of different racing championships, done quite a lot in the 24-hour series, the ESET V4 Cup, which is based in Central and Eastern Europe, so got a lot of racing experience in that. And car number 17, Mark J. Thomas, the Canadian expat, lives here in the Gulf States because he is the CEO of Bapco, the Bahraini oil company. And the Canadian is a dyed-in-the-wool petrol head. 4th in the Masters category last season, with plenty of Porsche racing experience, real enthusiastic supporter of motorsport here in Bahrain, and also an enthusiastic and inveterate Porsche racer as well. So Mark J. Thomas is the 3rd of our contenders in the Masters category. And those three cars, 11th, 12th, 13th on the grid. Now, some of these drivers had a couple of test days on Saturday and Sunday. Not all of them were able to make it here for those, but all of them have gone through free practice and the qualifying session. That happened earlier during the course of the day today. And the single qualifying session set the grid for both races. So the grid is not identical. It's not based on where you finish in race one. It's based on your qualifying times. So your fastest lap set the grid for race one. Your second fastest lap set the grid for race two. And I can tell you that the yellow car that leads the field away, Taichi Watarai, he was not only the holder of the fastest lap, but also his second fastest lap in qualifying was quicker than anybody else's second fastest lap as well. Both races from pole position. This 15-turn Bahrain International Circuit opened back in 2004, celebrating its 21st year. And the Leckner Racing Organisation, that is the group that runs the championship here, celebrating 20 years in Bahrain, because they were running cars in the Porsche Super Cup back in 2005. And their driver Richard Westbrook, the first Porsche race winner on this track. So Taichi Watarai and Alexander Vateva on row one, Banksy and Caleb Sumich on row two, Cedric Chassang and Mats Mutz Lechner on row three from Khaled Al-Ahmadi and Sam Shaheen. Then Saad Al-Saud, Alexander Hagenberg, Krista Andero, Peter Brecker and Mark J. Thomas. First double race weekend of the season, and first of 6 race weekends. They end up and conclude the championship here in March, and in between 3 Grand Prix support races. So it's a busy calendar, lots for the drivers to whet their appetite with, and plenty of logistics for the team to deal with. They move from here to nearby Qatar, just a short trip across the water at the end of the month to support the Formula One Qatar Grand Prix. They have standalone races in Dubai towards the end of January and Kuwait, and the last weekend of January, 1st of February in Abu Dhabi, and then 2 more Grand Prix support races to round out the season here in Bahrain on the 10th and 12th of April, and on the Jeddah Corniche Street Circuit across the water in Saudi Arabia in a week later, 17th and 19th of April, both supporting Formula One Grand Prix races. So plenty of opportunity to see high-performance cars up close when they are racing each other, and also when they are in the pits watching the F1 cars in action. So the bright yellow and black of Taichi Watarai leads them to the grid. Real young driver, just 21 years of age. Only has a handful of races. 2024 was his first racing season. Started in Porsche Carrera Cup Japan with 7x7. He's done 4 Super Taikyu races and a little bit of SRO GT3 racing in Japan. One, in fact, on his debut in that season. This is only going to be his second race start in the Middle East. His first was in the Dubai 24 hours at the beginning of this year. I don't know whether he started that race, but he will certainly be the only driver in his car for this one. So 12 laps ahead of them, just a fraction under 65 kilometers, and a maximum time of 30 minutes. Hopefully we won't need that time cut-off. We are ready to go for the opening race of Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East 2025. Away we go. Decent start from Taichi Watarai on pole position, and Alexander Vateva in the blue car right on his heels. She had a really good run through qualifying, looking to go around the outsides. The DHL car coming up strongly from 4th on the grid. Caleb Sumich, and alongside Vateva. I think she's got the run out of turn 2 to turn 3. She does, but up the hill to turn 4, Sumich is right behind in the yellow and red DHL car. Somebody's lost a little bit of a wingtip, and Sumich going the long way round the outside on cold tyres. Brave stuff. He's ahead of the bright vermilion car of Banksy, and Mark J. Thomas with all those lateral stripes in a 3-wide gang at the back with Cristo Andero. And running out wide, Alexander Vateva, and Alexandra losing second place and third place as through, though, the DHL car of Caleb Sumich and the Vermilion car of Banksy, but the leader is running away for the hills. Taichi Watarai is absolutely galloping away on this opening lap. 1.2 seconds ahead as they came down the hill to turn 9 and 10. Challenge on for the from Sam Shaheen on the first of the Saudi racing cars. Shaheen, the silver car, going the long way around the outside. Ooh, that's a brave move as well. That's a long, not tightening, but a long uphill corner. He just hangs on there in turn 12. Turn 11. Already heading out of 13, down the hill towards the final couple of corners, turn 14 and 15. There is Sam Shaheen, currently lying in 6th position, chasing Khaled Al Ahmadi, the first of the green and white Saudi racing cars. And running out wide again is Alexandra Vateva. From 4th, she loses 1 and 2 places because Sam Shaheen's alongside and he's got the momentum that Vateva did not have. Running out wide onto the dirty runoff area, she will have lost momentum and have filthy tyres, and she's got the hazard warning lights on. I wonder if Vateva has got a puncture. That's entirely possible. So she is pulling off at the side of the race. What a dreadful way to start her first race of the season. Not what she will have wanted. Peter Brecker ahead of this battling duo. They're the 2 M-Tech competition cars. Krista Andero with the green, and just ahead of him, the other M-Tech car, that's Alexander Hagenberg with the yellow and black. Team GP Elite colours of Cedric Chassang at the front there, yellow flag at turn 1. I think that's where Alexandra Vateva has come to a grinding halt. So until she can find a way off track, then we will have a yellow flag there. They won't be back there for a couple of minutes, so that's less of an issue for these drivers at the moment than worrying about where everybody else is. Checking in on number 16, Sam Shaheen in 5th place, and still chasing Khaled Al Ahmadi. Saad Al Saud, the second of the white and green cars, down in 7th place, ahead of Max Mutzlechner. He started in 6th position, Max, so he's just been shuffled back a bit at the beginning. Mark J. Thomas chasing Krista Andero. Here's your race leader though, 1 second clear, Taichi Watarai. Behind him, Caleb Sumich has really got the hammer down. Yellow flag at turn 3 now, so I'm assuming that's where Alexandra Vateva has got to as they come down the hill towards the final corner. So the timing pile on the left, yellow back into the numbers, gold, that's the Pro class, silver back into the numbers, that is the Pro-Am class, and bronze back into the numbers, those are the drivers in the Masters category. So the leader of each is shown in the left-hand column, extending that colour all the way across. So Taichi Watarai leading, Caleb Sumich with the fastest race lap, the young Aussie, here with his dad for his first visit to this track. Did about half the season in Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East last year, so he knows Robert and Walter Lechner and their organisation. And Alexandra Vateva over on the left-hand side at the top of the shot. You can see that she is pulled over out of turn 3. Sweeping up through turn 4, then 5, and then down the hill. This looks flat on the cameras, very much not flat. Starting to really build speed down the hill here. Into turn 8, quite a sharp right-hander, almost a hairpin. You can see how red the brakes are glowing here in the evening. And now suddenly, Caleb Sumich is right with the leader. Taichi Watarai was a second ahead, was 6/10 ahead. That's 2 car lengths. That's, again, yeah, I was going to say, well under half a second, down to 26 hundredths at the end of timing sector 2. And this is going to be a ding-dong battle now. Lap 3 of 12. Taichi Watarai and Caleb Sumich, 2 of our young drivers, and both in the rookie category, along with Alexandra Vateva and Max Mutzlechner. Mutzlechner, the youngest of the field at just 19, Watarai 21. Sumich, barely older, from Perth in Western Australia, Caleb. Danny Ricciardo territory. And Team DHL car all over the 7x7 car. So it looks like honour's pretty even as they come across the line. If anything, Watarai has responded to the presence of Sumich behind him. Banksy is third in the bright pink and black car. Then Khaled Al-Ahmadi with Sam Shaheen behind him, and Cedric Chassang, and getting it all wrong in turn one. Watarai maybe a little early on the brakes, maybe not just releasing the pedal and getting onto the throttle quite as quickly as Caleb Sumich. Banksy now pulling away from the battle for fourth at the top of the screen. Al-Ahmadi with Sam Shaheen taking the long road around the outside to turn four. This can work, but you need more of an overlap. Oh, now he's coming across the line, cutting underneath. Is this going to work for him? Al-Ahmadi on the inside, that becomes the inside now for Shaheen. He runs out wide. Al-Ahmadi is going to chase him down the hill, but Shaheen has made the pass. He's up to fourth, second in Pro-Am now. And don't forget that Al-Ahmadi, well, he was second in Pro-Am before. Don't forget Al-Ahmadi is a pro driver. And again with our leaders, turn 10. So piling on the speed downhill here, braking hard. It's tight, tightens again into a real handbrake turn, hairpin almost. There's Shaheen, here's our leader up the inside. The challenge from Caleb Sumich gets his nose in front at turn 11. Now they start to climb the hill. He'll have lost a little bit of momentum, but it's very hard to find a way past. Look at the big black stripe that the car of Taichi Watarai left up the hill there as the back broke away. You don't want to be doing that too often. You're going to start to lose traction in that left rear that does a lot of work around here in these cars. Now they're heading back down the hill, reaching VMAX about now and hard onto the brakes at something around 175 miles an hour. R42, first warning for track limits. And that is Cedric Chassang in sixth position. So for the first time across the line, Caleb Sumich. Now the pit lane for these cars is the Oasis pit on the back stretch. So in fact, he made the pass, Caleb Sumich, in front of his dad, watching over the pit wall. And now the pass is made back by Taichi Watarai. There's a little contact there. And has Watarai got a breakage, or was he just running off track? I think maybe he just had a bit of a moment with himself and had to gather it up running off. But he has the lead again at turn 4. We could be seeing the beginning of a season-long ding-dong battle between these two young drivers. Watarai effectively from almost nowhere of the duo. Caleb Sumich actually slightly more experienced, and we're not talking a vast amount. Hasn't raced here in Bahrain before, and the same goes for Watarai. So first time on this track, and of course in testing, in practice, in qualifying, what you don't do is learn how and where you overtake a rival. Now he's tried it down the inside into turn 11 once. He's going to try it again here. Watarai a little earlier on the brakes. And Sumich, oh, contact from behind as Watarai gets back on the power. Sumich did as well, but Watarai into the back of the car, into the side, the left or right rear quarter of Caleb Sumich. And he rejoins behind Saud Al Saud, or alongside Saud Al Saud, the number 3 car. Comes back on in what is now 6th position. Well, let's take a look again. He comes down the inside, down into turn 11 on the back straight. Then there's a little bit of contact. Watarai crosses the line back inside him. And there's contact as Sumich tries to turn left up the hill. Stewards will look at that. Peter Dumbrek, driver standards advisor, a hugely experienced GT3 racer. So he'll know plenty about what happens in these cars. Saw there the CEO of Splendid Yachting, watching from the suite at the top of the Oasis pit wall, and trying to go around the outside, Cedric Chassang. I beg your pardon, Peter Brecker. And Brecker with the chrome and gold, chrome gold, white and black, just squeezing in front of Alexander Hagenberg and the M-Tech car. So this is for 9th place. Brecker the leader in the Masters category. Hagenberg not getting back by him, and not too far behind as Hagenberg tries to come the long way round down the hill. Not too far behind is Krista Andero, and that is the silver lime green and black machine right behind, or grey, lime green and black if you prefer. Mark J. Thomas behind them. Alexandra Vateva, I'm afraid, first race of the season for her, ending on the first couple of laps. Now, contact between 14 and 77, so Caleb Sumich and Taichi Watarai will be examined, of course, by the stewards. That has been officially notified. Meanwhile, Khaled Ahmadi with Cedric Sassang behind him, and now Caleb Sumich, the yellow and red DHL team car, trying to find a way through. This is not going to be easy for the young Aussie, because these two have been in a ding-dong battle for position. He's going to have to try and make it here. Now, don't forget, all these cars with traction control, so they come off the corner similarly, and with ABS, so they brake similarly, but Sumich down the inside, and you can adjust the traction control and the ABS, how much of those aids you allow. So a driver who's perhaps more confident in their own abilities will wind back the traction control, feel comfortable doing more of that with themselves, wind back a little bit of the ABS, but around the outside, back against Sumich comes Sassang, doesn't make it. Sumich cuts back, looking for the inside line on Khaled Al Ahmadi. Possible contact at turn 3 between Sumich and Watarai being examined as well. We didn't really see that, but certainly at turn 11 there wasn't possible. That was definite contact between the two of them. So Stuart's looking at a couple of incidents, and you'd assume on that same lap, which was, where are we now? We're on lap 7, so I guess that was lap 5 of the race. Taichi Watarai leading by 2 seconds from teammate Banksy. Watarai leading the Pro class, Banksy leading Pro-Am. Caleb Sumich. If racing was easy, I'd be doing it. So you're going to take the rough with the smooth. Nicky Lauda always said, you lose more when you learn more when you lose than when you win. Which doesn't mean that for learning it's better to lose, but if you lose, it's better to learn, maybe. And that's Max Lechner at the tail of that little group. Next group here, led by Peter Brecker. Alexander Hagenberg behind him, and Chris Randero and Mark J. Thomas. So this is predominantly Hagenberg. First time out in the series, first time here. Dicing with these 3 more experienced drivers, not just in terms of overall, but certainly in terms of here. Caleb Sumich in the yellow and red DHL car, 5th place at the moment, as we get towards the end of lap 7. Khaled Al Ahmadi, the Saudi Arabian driver, in front of him, and Sumich struggling to close now. Sumich still with the fastest race lap. And that was on lap 2, and he really closed down the leader. Again, really closing down Khaled Al Ahmadi. Whatever else, Caleb Sumich is extremely good on brakes. Really makes up ground on everybody there. He'll be losing a fraction with the TC off the turns, but he makes up huge amounts into them. And again, out of 4, looking to cut back underneath. Go outside, inside. He's alongside Al Ahmadi. That becomes his corner now. He moves up, so he's up to 4th place. Sam Shaheen ahead of him up the road by, what, 3.4 seconds. And we are on lap 8 of 12. So this plus 4 more. He has got time to make it onto the podium. Not sure he's going to have time to catch the leader again, though. behind a white and green car. Khaled Al-Ahmadi. Now what are we seeing here? Mark Thomas having a deep dive on the inside of Krista Andero. Andero seeing him coming, opening the steering. I think they avoided contact there, actually. They're both very experienced in these cars and at this track and in this series. Here's our new young star, or one of them for this season, Taichi Watarai, who start both races here from pole position. Caleb Sumich lost laps in qualifying for track limits excursions, and so when he started fairly strongly here, I think on the race 2 grid he's going to be down towards the tail of the top 10, maybe serves a little lower than that as well. So he needs to make the most of this if he can. Currently in 4th, pulling away from this battle. Khaled Al-Ahmadi, green and white, and Cedric Chassang in the orange, white and black of Team GP Elite. Chassang's going to have to mind his P's and Q's here, because if he makes a move on Al-Ahmadi and it doesn't work, although he makes one now and it does, then he may fall foul of Saud Al Saud right behind. Al-Ahmadi allowed Chassang to outbrake himself around the outside, run a little deep. Al-Ahmadi, with commendable sang-froid, came back at him. And now Saud Al Saud doing exactly what I foretold, having a go at Chassang himself. So the two Saudi racing drivers not working necessarily in unison as a team, but taking advantage of each other's incidents. Chris Randero deep down the inside of Mark J. Thomas. And he retakes 11th place, second in Masters. As we get back to Chassang and Saud Al Saud, car number 3 behind him. So there's the three-way battle for 5th. Khaled Al-Ahmadi, first the green and white Saudi racing cars, then Cedric Chassang, and then the second the green and white cars, Saud Al Saud. And actually, Max Much-Lechner not too far behind the young Italian. Again, does really look as though he probably needs to be doing school homework as well in between sessions. There's a very young looking drivers in the championship. And Max just 19 years old. Mark J. Thomas, this was him having a dive bomb again on Krista Andero, trying to retake that place. Andero just whipping the cape aside and allowing Mark to go through and braking. He was likely to run wide. Got to try these things. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But what's guaranteed not to help is if you just sit there behind another driver. So here we go. Saud Al Saud thinking it's time to do exactly that. Getting a good run off the final corner, turn 15. Right in the toe of Cedric Chassang. He's going to pop out at the last moment. He's going to be on the grippier racing line side of the track. Chassang is going to break in a straight line, try and get it stopped, and he does. First track limits infringement for Saud Al Saud, car number 3. That won't worry him that much yet. Not that he'll know about it. Trying to find a way around Cedric Chassang. Does not manage to do so. Great race between these two. Leader Taichi Watarai now nearly 3.5 seconds ahead of teammate Banksy. And Banksy in turn over 3.5 ahead of Sam Shaheen, who lies in 3rd. Caleb Sumich, his last lap 205.1, Shaheen's 205.5, so he is closing a little, not a huge amount, and Max Much-Lechner closing considerable air on Saud Al Saud down the hill, 9 into 10. Had to gather it all up though on the exit of the 10, lost a bit of drive, down to 11. And now as they climb up the hill through turn 12. Right-hander here. Mark Thomas being warned about track limits as well. Everybody being notified about his first warning for track limits. Here comes Chassang. 13, down the hill to 14 and 15, sticking hard to the right-hand side. He's going to make Saud Al Saud go the long way round. And and he's going very flat into turn 14. He's going to be slow onto the straight, and this is the opportunity for Saud Al Saud. He needed to find a way of not being jammed up behind Cedric Chassang there. He could have had a better exit, Saud. Again, he's going late onto the brakes and locks it up, just dropping the left wheels onto the dirt. Got away with that. It's just a momentary lack of traction there. He just got away with that. He dropped the wheels off any earlier, that might have been a long looping spin off into the barriers. So Saud Al Saud on the inside of Cedric Chassang there, and now up at turn 4, Chassang on the inside. And you can see that the Saudi driver in the white and green, number 3 machine, definitely with better knowledge of this track and how to use these cars here. Certainly not his first rodeo. Running out very wide behind them, car number 16, Max Muxlechner. Chassang hanging on to 6th. Decent exit out of 10, but again, couldn't get onto the throttle quite as early or he'd have run too far out wide. So Saud Al Saud is closing. Is he going to have a look up into 11? He's not feeling that brave. That would be coming in from a long way back. That would only have ever had one result, immediate contact. Second offence, track limits for car number 3. It might be actually, and at turn 1 where he dropped a wheel off into the dirt. Should add insult to injury almost. Stuff from Cedric Chassang, first time out in the championship. Not first time out in the championship, race at the end of last season in Jeddah. First time here with Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East. Saud Al Saud again, very close out of 15. It's a long straight, but these cars cover it pretty quickly. It's hard to make a difference. Comes out late again, looking to go around the outside. He's not yet forcing the mistake out of Cedric Chassang. Leaders are on the last lap. Everybody now is on the last lap, including the battle between Krista Andera and Mark J. Thomas. And Saud Al Saud this time, it's now or never. No second chances. And this time he can't get around the outside in turn 4. So it's turn 11, or get a really good run through 14 and 15 and beat him to the line, but it's quite a short run. It's less than halfway down the front straight to the line. At the moment, Cedric Chassang doing what he needs. Taichi Watarai on his way to victory, 5.5 seconds clear from Banksy, with Sam Shaheen in 3rd, closing a little. Caleb Sumich has brought the gap down to Shaheen, 1.3 seconds. Not close enough, surely, to make a difference. Watarai already up the hill through the right-hander at turn 12, nearly at the crest of the brow as we look at Chassang holding on from Al Saud for this 6th position. This is the closest battle on the track, barring Brecker and Hagenberg, and Chassang just hanging on. So really clinging on hard here. Leader down into the final couple of corners. There is a challenge for 3rd place as we get to the line. Here's Taichi Watarai. He's going to win comfortably. Banksy, the other 7x7 car, in 2nd place. And there you can see in 3rd, Sam Shaheen just ahead of the yellow and red of Caleb Sumich. Then Khaled Al Ahmadi will be comfortably 5th. Unless all his wheels drop off now, and the final run to the line. Cedric Chassang trying to shorten the distance, but here comes Saud Al Saud. It's going to be an absolutely photo finish. I think it was Al Saud. It was Al Saud by 24 thousandths of a second. Chassang, maybe by going right there, actually lengthened the run to the line, because it was a diagonal and not a straight line. Peter Brecker wins in Masters, just ahead of Alexander Hagenberg in 9th and 10th. And then Krista Andera and Mark Thomas, they were at it all the way round every lap, including the last one. And here's the photo finish. Yeah. Now, in hindsight, Cedric Chassang will probably be told if you'd gone straight, he would have had to have gone diagonally to the line, covering a few precious meters, and those 24 thousandths of a second might not have gone his way. But for 7x7 racing, this is a glorious start to the season. First and second overall, victory in Pro and in Pro-Am. Taichi Watarai and Banksy, the all-Japanese duo, dominating the race. The Masters winner, Peter Brecker, from the Czech Republic in the GT Sports Technology machine, and he finished in 9th place. But what a start to the season for 7x7 and Banksy Racing. Last year's team's champions, Saudi racing team, have got some real opposition this year, and not least from the 7x7 racing team. So top rookie as well, Taichi Watarai, wins the race from Banksy and Sam Shaheen. And Shaheen ahead of Caleb Sumich, Khaled Al-Ahmadi and Saud Al-Saud. Cedric Chassang losing that 6th position by 24 thousandths of a second. Max Much-Lechner not too far behind him. Peter Brecker winning in Masters, keeping his nose just in front of Alexander Hagenberg to the line, with Christian Dera and Mark J. Thomas working each other over all the way through that race, having a thoroughly enjoyable time. The real disappointment for Alexandra Vateva, who started on the outside front row of the grid, her better starting position of the two races, and unfortunately, possibly from early contact, looks as though her car either had a puncture or another mechanical issue, and she pulled off very early in the race. So, Taichi Watarai from Japan, this young driver, just 21 years of age, very limited racing experience, but you would not know it from that performance. That's a fantastic job by him. I wonder how the Japanese, Austrian translators are working. You just saw Robert Lechner there, and he goes off to congratulate Banksy as well. Last year's Masters champion with victory, first time out in the Pro-Am class, and a team 1-2. There's Mikhail, who organizes all the logistics and everything for running this organization. So there you go, 1-2 and 2 class wins. That's the way you get things underway. Fantastic stuff for our two Japanese drivers. And there, Sam Shaheen, the Australian driver, finishing on the podium in 3rd place, 2nd in the Pro-Am class as well. So he and brother Yasser, both enthusiastic racers, finding themselves in the same paddock. Sam here in the Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East, brother Yasser racing for WRT BMW in LMGT3 in the World Endurance Championship. So I'm not sure who's at home minding the circuit at the Benz Motorsport Park. I'm sure their management team are very happily busy. Is it today? It's tomorrow? It's sometime early tomorrow, I think. So Taichi Watarai, and there's Banksy. Impressive stuff. Impressive stuff. So now podium. Yeah, there you go. There is Watarai, our race winner. 21 years old, and doesn't he look like the younger driver as well? So congratulations to Taichi Watarai, first time out. Now, he's got a bit of a habit of winning first time out. Won first time out in SRO GT3 Japan. I think he won first time out in Super Taikyu as well. As red lights went out, pole sit Taichi Watarai from the right-hand side of the picture, getting ahead of close rival Alexandra Vateva. Vateva, the Bulgarian driver. A little bit of contact there, maybe with the back of the yellow and black car in turn 1. Around the outside, Caleb Sumich. Sumic trying to take second place. Bateva up at the top of the hill, running out a little wide. And Sumic going through, followed by the pink car of Banksy. Bateva rejoining. But it became evident that she had an issue. It looked as though maybe it was a right front punch or some suspension issue. Came back on, but by the end of lap 1, hazard warning lights were on, and she was looking for somewhere to safely park the car. Meanwhile, the two M-Tech teammates battled each other. And Sam Shaheen just getting into the back of Khaled Al Ahmadi. Battling outside the top 3. Watarai had to contend with Caleb Sumic. Sumic coming from 4th on the grid up to 2nd and then taking the lead. Watarai regaining that advantage down in turn 1 on the next lap. And then contact there. The battle was not over. Watarai a little wild over the curbs. That will be investigated by the stewards, as will this. Again down into turn 11, Sumic on the inside. Watarai crossing the line, not entirely cleanly. Contact with the rear of Sumic's car. He went off, rejoined and fought his way back to 4th. Watarai cantered away to the checkered flag. Teammate Banksy in 2nd place and winning in Pro-Am. Masters winner Peter Brecker. This battle with Cedric Chassang just hanging on ahead of Saud Al Saud all the way through until the line, when the Saudi driver got it by 24 hundredths of a second, 24 thousandths of a second. And there is Peter Brecker, our Masters class winner in race 1 of Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East. Well, the stewards will look at those incidents after the race, so we may not necessarily be in what you see is what you get. Fastest lap went to Caleb Sumic. Unfortunately, in that case, no bonus points for that. But he has got a quick car, and he has found his way around this Bahrain International Circuit very well indeed. And he's going to need to in the second race, because he is not starting at the front of the grid. So we have a lot of overtaking to do in race 2. And that will be coming up on Saturday morning. They race at 11 AM local time, 0800 Greenwich Mean Time, 0900 Central European. I'm afraid if you are watching back home in Perth, you're going to have to do your own maths on that. It's whatever it is from GMT plus however many hours you are. Once the clocks go back, in our case, in Europe, and forward, in your case, in the antipodes, I'm afraid I lose track of what's going on. Doesn't take much to confuse a simple man. The ACO logo climbing the rotunda. Just inside turn 1 here. And Alexandra Vateva's car, catch up with her and the team in a little while, find out what happened. It sort of looked like there might have been either a problem with the suspension or steering, or maybe a right front puncture. She was certainly struggling to get the car stopped and turned, and I think very wisely at the end of lap 1 on the straight went, okay, I'm out of this. This is not going to go well. This is not going to survive. And so took herself and car out of proceedings, which is not what you want 1 lap into the season. But again, tomorrow is another day and another opportunity in race 2. Again, I think she has qualified pretty impressively there. On the right-hand side, in the rather attractive shorts, is the legend that is Mr. Bob Constanduros. For many, many years, track announcer at Formula 1 Grand Prix. And in that role, came here to Bahrain for the first time. And he is still one of our track announcers here at the Bahrain International Circuit. Getting ready for our podium procedures. So we'll have a Pro-Am podium, a Pro podium, a Masters podium, and there will also be trophies for our GCC.
Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the podium for race 1 of the Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East. In 3rd place from Australia, Samir Shaheen. Well done. Congratulations. In 2nd place from Japan, Banksy. For our winner, also from Japan, Teichi Watarai. Congratulations. And the winner of GCCC is Khalid Al-Ahmadi. Congratulations. And now, in honor of our winner, Taichi Watarai, the national anthem of Japan. Congratulations to Taichi Watarai. The trophy is presented to him by Sheikh Salman bin Isa Al Khalifa, the CEO of the Bahrain International Circuit. Congratulations to Taichi Watarai. To the 2nd place driver, Banksy, the trophy is presented by Marcus Peter, the marketing director of Porsche Middle East and Africa. And to the 3rd place driver, Samira Shaheen, the trophy is presented by Ernst Nasser, the marketing and sales of Splendid Yachting AG. And finally, to the winner of the GCC region, Khalid Al-Ahmadi, the trophy is presented by, I think, Sheikh Salman again, not by Jennifer Pereira-Moll of Porsche AG. Congratulations, well done. And now, let's celebrate.
Samir Shaheen went very early with the cork and had to keep a cork in it until the rest of the celebrations were concluded. And Bob's famous phrase, and now the champagne. That does not work here because this is rose water. So the celebrations. Khalid Al-Ahmadi there on the right-hand side, the leading GCC driver, the Gulf States commercial group. So Taichi Watarai, Banksy and Samir Shaheen. Top 3. So in there we have our Pro winner, our Pro-Am winner, and our top GCC driver. So missing our Masters category winner, Peter Brecker. So bus is collecting our marshals, the Orange Army that are at the side of the track to keep everybody safe throughout the race weekend. So congratulations to all of them for another thoroughly well done job today. Never the easiest conditions, Lots of marshals in Europe would enjoy a bit of sunshine occasionally. Quite often that's in fairly short supply. However, temperatures here have been in the mid-30s, so it's been a long, hot day for all of these men and women, and they will be back tomorrow to do the same again. And don't forget that tomorrow we start our day with action from the Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East. Race 2 gets underway at 11 o'clock local. That is 0800 Greenwich Mean Time on Saturday morning. Until then, from me, Martin Haven, the rest of the production team here in Bahrain, well done to our race winners, well done to everybody on getting the season back underway. We look forward to race 2 tomorrow morning. We'll see you then. Bye for now.